Pan-African good afternoon to you out there. Today is Saturday at 5 p.m. and as usual, Saturday 5 p.m. is the time for the GloBUNTU School of Life Masterclass. This is that masterclass where you meet people who have journeyed through life, who have developed skills and tools and systems that they are willing to share with you to help you first master your life, to help you own your life. So my name is Beatrice Achaleko. I am the senior author of the Africa Cosmetics book series, publisher of GloBUNTU books, and your host at the GloBUNTU School of Life Masterclass. I'm getting excited because this is going to be a very, very interesting class. So if you're out there, you're on Facebook, you're on YouTube, we see you, you're in the class, please remember that the GloBUNTU School of Life Masterclass is an open class. You can join at any time, you can participate at any time. Use the comment box on Facebook or on YouTube and just post us your comments, share our master teacher. There will be some questions coming up. Just make sure to participate because again, it is an open class. We're here to teach and learn. And as Maya Angelou said, when you learn, teach. When you learn, teach. And I always say life is a story, and some stories are life transformational. And the stories that we hear at the GloBUNTU School of Life Masterclass are life transformational stories. So we welcome you. Make sure to stick on right up to the end because every chapter of this masterclass has something very special. So you don't want to miss any part. So we are going live. We are live already. And our master teacher today is my brother Ramarumo Tshikosi. Sometimes I struggle to pronounce the name, but he always correct me if I pronounce it wrong. So I am happy to have you here. Good afternoon and welcome, master teacher. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm awesome. How are you?
I am very well, and I'm so looking forward to our class. So
I'm also looking forward to it.
okay, great. So let's get it started. I don't want to introduce you. I want you to introduce yourself, to do your self introduction, because that's how we do it at the GloBUNTU School of Life Masterclass. So I am going to pass over the mic to you, and you will introduce yourself. And I would like you to first introduce yourself, and then we get to the next step. So the mic is yours, Master Teacher.
Good afternoon, Sister Beatrice, and all our listeners. Everyone is following it. My name is Ramarumo Tshikosi. I'm a father, an educator, a husband, and an entrepreneur. I'm a nuclear professional and a Pan-Africanist. I'm also about to publish my book, so I can rightly so say I am also an author.
Okay, great. Geraldine, you are joining us. You said the audio is not audible. I hope that it does work in between. Please just stay on and give me feedback. Thank you so much for being out there. I know you're joining us all the way from Washington. Please give me a hand up when the audio is fixed because I can hear myself, I can hear the master teacher. So please just give me a thumbs up when you can hear me and when the audio is good. Okay. Thank you. That said, I am going back to the studio and joining my master teacher who is he just combined so many, he wears so many hats. So, and today we're here to listen to the father, the husband, the educator, the entrepreneur, the toastmaster, the nuclear professional, and a lot more. So, brother, tell me, during the pandemic, we've been down with the pandemic since like for the past 18, close to 19 months. What is it that you've learned about yourself? What is it that you've learned about yourself so far that you did not know before the pandemic?
I've learned that I learned to connect to myself, to be able to spend time with myself, trying to process the thoughts that are coming to my mind, and I also learned to journal because I've learned a lot of that. Most of us, we tend to neglect our mental well-being and our health, our physical health, and that affects us. Mostly African men, we it's something that we need to look into, try to make sure that we look after our well-being, eat healthy, and be ourselves, and also to learn to be empathetic to other people.
I get you. And Geraldine is still signaling me that your microphone is good, your sound is good, brother. It's just mine that is troubleshooting. So I am going to, while we're talking, I'm going to be checking my audios and making sure that the output is correct. So I hope that it works better. Geraldine, please keep checking for me. Please have my back right there. So back to the masterclass. I just want to remind you, if you're watching, that we are live streaming on Facebook and YouTube, and that it is an open masterclass, so you can join at any time using the comment box. The masterclass comes to you in where am I? Where am I talking? I'm kind of not really in my elements. The masterclass comes to you in 4 chapters. In chapter 1, we do the introduction, which is the one that we're in right now. In chapter 2, we listen to the. Thank you, Geraldine. The microphone is better now. I wonder what was, but we're happy that it's better. And thank you so much for being there and for giving us that feedback. Thank you. So we come in 4 chapters. Chapter 1 is introduction. Chapter 2 is the story of our master teacher and the 5 key lessons that he has learned along his life journey. In chapter 3, we want to know his next chapter. What are you up to now, from now going forward? And in chapter 4, we wrap it all up with a series of very exciting, interesting questions, just to make to kind of round up the conversation in a beautiful way. So, brother, with all the intro and with all the hats that you carry, what will you say? What will you say has been that God-defining moment that changed the course of your life forever? Oh, you're gone. You're gone. Please unmute yourself. You're muted.
Oh yes, when I discovered my Africanness, that's when I felt that I discovered my purpose, because throughout our learning, I came across some works of some Pan-African writers and people like the late Dr. Ranuko Rashid, Sheikh Anthony Diop, and many others, both Dr. Ivan Setima. Those are the people who shaped my way of life, and I felt that as an African person, I have a purpose. I have something I have to contribute to the upliftment of myself and also for the betterment of my community.
That is so interesting, because we grow up in school systems, in colonial school systems, most of us in all African countries, and in those school systems we learn so little or nothing about who we are and about our history. And sometimes we grow up relating to different people, and it takes some time for us to journey through life to then come to the point where we start asking the question, who am I? What is my history? What is my legacy? Where do I come from and where do I go to from here? And that happened to me when I was 46, when I turned 46, when everything crumbled down and I had to kind of start turning around like the Sankofa, from the Adinka symbol, the Sankofa, like looking outward to see where do I come from. And it is interesting that you went through a similar journey of kind of refinding yourself, re-educating and refinding yourself. So what is the purpose that it has when you make that journey, when you got to that point?
Say it again.
So I was saying, you said you found your purpose when
Yes.
you got to read some of those master teachers. And again, at this point, we want to pay tribute to Dr. Renoko Rashidi. who passed away some 2 weeks ago, and he's been laid to rest, I think, today. So I think, God, I think we should observe 1 minute for him in respect of him and the legacy that he left behind and the work that he did. I think those of you who are out there, please join us to observe a minute of respect and celebration for the legacy that Romoko Rashidi left for us. So let's take that 1 minute. So thank you. We hope that he's received by the ancestors, that he meets Check and Tag Group, Dr. Fatima and Tom Henry Clark, and people all of those great history master teachers and Pan-Africanists who have left. We hope that he joins them and that they guide us from wherever they are now and how to continue with that legacy. So that said, I'm coming back to the class to you, my master teacher. What is the focus that you discovered? Oh, we have some sound in the background. We have some
yes.
info in the background.
First, I learned that I need to know who am I, because once I know who am I would know that I come from a rich history, and we have a rich legacy that we need to preserve, we need to continue with. And because I learned who I am, and I'm still learning who am I learned to take pride in my African identity and to also contribute in building our African community. And with that, it helps me to also find myself that I need to contribute, that we are here for a reason. Each one of us have got talents, and those talents, we should use them to develop our community. Let us be part of the solutions, because there are so many challenges, and those challenges are opportunities that we should use to develop ourselves for a better Africa.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. That said, the next question that I would like us to talk about is we're still in the first chapter of the masterclass. Who, from the perspective where you discover your Africanness, you find your purpose. What will you say? What will you say are the 5 key lessons that you have learned from that journey of finding who you really are and your Africanness and the fact that you need to contribute? What are the 5 key lessons that you feel that you've learned along the way?
I've learned that as African people, we need to use every day as an opportunity to learn. So for me, every day is an opportunity to learn, to become better for the empowerment of self and for my community. Second point is that I need to look after my health by exercising, eating healthy. And point number 3, we need to be self-reliant as African people, to learn to produce our own food. And for that aspect, we have got a garden that we work on with my daughters. So because I want them to learn that, food, the fresh produce is not obtained from the supermarket. We produce it from home. And the point number 4.
No,
Yes.
let's stop there. Let's stop there with the 3 key lessons. The first one is learning every day.
Yes.
I love that aspect of learning every day. So when you wake up, you make a conscious commitment to learn something. And by the time that you go to sleep, you ask yourself the question, what is it that I learned today? What is it that I learned today that will make my tomorrow better? What is it that I learned today that I can use to impact someone else's life tomorrow? What is it that I learned today that tells me that I still have a whole lot to learn? I like that mantra of making a conscious decision to learn every day. And as Africans, like you say, there's so much that we need to learn. learning to rediscover ourselves, learning to love ourselves, learning to learn about our history beyond the classroom, and learning how to navigate through the world and not just fixing things as we journey through the through life, but also how to become ourselves. Who am I really? And what is my purpose? I think that is part of the learning process for me as I understand it. So, and then self care. Oh my goodness, self care was never so important, especially now during the pandemic, where we're all locked down and we're facing, we have to wear masks, we have to sanitize, we have to stay away from our loved ones, and you're wondering, businesses are crumbling down, people are being retrenched, and I think that brings a whole big burden on people. And people of African descent and Black people have always had challenges that will kind of make you fight so much that you neglect yourself. And when you draw our attention to the importance of self-care, it just means in the midst of all of this, if we want to navigate the pandemic properly, then we have to learn how to take care of ourselves because we are like the engine that drives the car, right? If the engine is not functioning, the car cannot function. So if we can take care
Correct.
of ourselves, we can go take care of other people and not fix the world and not, not show up in the world. So I like that aspect of lesson about self care. And then you talked about self reliance. Self reliance.
Yes.
Do you know that Africa, our African continent, is the only continent that has still has the greatest the greatest, how do I call it, agriable land. We have the most cultivative land in the world. So being self-reliant in the form of, and everyone eats, right? We all eat. If you can eat, you have one of your basic human needs met. And if you can cultivate your own food, not only is it healthy, it is less expensive, it keeps you creatively occupied, and it's one way that you can use to navigate through the pandemic by just doing your gardening and planting your own food. So I love, love, love those three lessons. If there's something else that you want to add before we move on to lesson four, you're most
Oh,
welcome. And those of you who are online, please, if you're joining, this is the open masterclass. If there are lessons that you have learned that you want to share with us, please use the comment box and feel free to share. If there is something that you have heard that you think, oh wow, this is what I'm going to focus on, please share with us through using the comment box on Facebook or on YouTube. Geraldine, I hope you're well seated. I know it's early morning in Washington. I hope you're well seated and that you're enjoying the class. So please feel free to continue to participate. Now, over to you, brother. Is there something else that you'd like to add on the three lessons that you've learned before we move on?
yes. Yes, I would like to add that in terms of self-reliance,
Mm-hmm.
we as Africans, we are endowed with minerals. We've got good sunshine, so we can generate power, solar power from the solar that we have. I know the Chinese generate something like 30 gigawatts of power. So we have got more sunshine than China. We have got our hydro water, places like in Inga waterfall in Congo, has got enough generating capacity, not only to power Africa, but even to export power. We've got more arable land than any other continent. I think most of the arable land is in Africa. We've got more drinkable water in Africa. So a lot of all the resources that we need, it's here. And we are the youngest continent. We've got more youth. So which means we are vibrant, we are vital, we've got all the energy. All what we need is to start believing in ourselves and utilizing all the opportunities that we have, all resources that we have, and turn all these challenges into stepping stones because we can build a reliable people. We can be self-reliant, self-sufficient.
I like that, and thank you so much for expanding on the idea of self-reliance go beyond just agriculture, just beyond feeding ourselves. It expands, as you say, and covers all the resources. Thank you for reminding us. Sometimes we forget about what we have. And yesterday, someone in a WhatsApp group from Ghana, they had a conversation, and I wasn't there. And one of them just kind of jumped over to me and private text me and said, in the group we're discussing about you, and everyone is saying like you are the one woman that we know to believe in Africa. Maybe you should come tell us what you see in Africa that we're not seeing. And I was in the midst of something, and I thought like, oh, this is an opportunity to kind of raise awareness. So I jumped into the group and I said, okay, four questions that I want to ask you. Africa was colonized over centuries, and we are still dealing with colonization, and some of the colonizers are still here. How about you ask yourself what they see that we should be seeing? The Chinese are coming to Africa every day. The numbers are increasing. Maybe we should ask ourselves what is it that they're seeing that we're not seeing. And I said, we have all these resources. We have all the resources. And people, I said, Africa is the only continent that houses so many military bases of other countries across the globe. Maybe we should ask ourselves what is it that they're protecting here that we should be seeing. And maybe we should ask ourselves how much of our history do we really know that we should be knowing. And I have to get some videos and some videos from John Henry Clark and Dr. Fatima and drop in the group. And it took 10 minutes and they came back and said, oh wow, we did not know this before. So this takes us to the that took me 10 minutes.
We really do not know ourselves.
No.
Yes.
And sometimes the quest for knowledge makes us to start having that negative conversation like there's nothing. We focus on the negative that the media throws at us. So, and sometimes it just takes this kind of exchange to change the way people think and to give them another perspective. And I was very happy about that. The next thing that he said is, how can I get my children in the literary classes that you're doing? Because I think they can learn a whole lot. And I'm saying, well, you should come in as well. I'm learning.
Indeed. Yeah. Many people. Yeah.
Yes,
many people. Yeah. Many people do. We just do not. We are in the process of learning. All of us are in the process of learning. But I think the moment you start knowing who you are and all the historical legacies that we have and all the main tourist destination that we have, some sites are even declared World Heritage Sites that we don't know much about. Many of us have got cell phones in our pockets. We are using laptops to communicate. This is Africa that we're using. You cannot have any new technology without coltan. Coltan, you only get it in Congo. And this is the technology that we have. Also in Congo, there is also a mineral called rare earth minerals, which nations like the Chinese have decided that they do have. They don't want to export it. That is the technology, that is the material that is used to manufacture smartphones, to manufacture laptops, and all these things that we use. So Africa is always with us. We cannot do without Africa. It's in our pocket. It's there. It's in the air we breathe. It's in the water that we drink. Africa is in our gene. So the more we love Africa, the more we will learn to love and appreciate our heritage, and the more we will be able to achieve more.
I can't agree any less. That said, I want to acknowledge our brother Tito. Tito is on Facebook. Good topic to say. Tito, we see you. Keep coming. You are going to be the next master teacher. I'm happy that you said yes. So I'm coming after you for the September class. I'm glad you are in the class today. So that said, I would love for us to, the topic of learning is something that we really have to. There's so much that we need to learn. And when you mentioned the cell phone, I'm just thinking like when you pick your phone every day, I wish that by the time that we get to school, that we ask ourselves, what is it that we learn? What is it that we learn about the cell phone from our cell phone? when we go online for content, what kind of content do we look for, and how does that content make us feel? For me, learning is when I know that I have learned about something new that makes me feel good, that makes me feel like have a better sense of self and a pride in who I am as an African. So I go out for that information. And I think that's something that we should really focus on to say the kind of thing, what kind of information do I go out for? Is it the information that empowers me, that makes me proud, or the kind of information that devastates me and at the end I'm saying like, oh yes, we are African, Africa is so poor. I think we should kind of shift our mind on the kind of information that we consume because there's just so much out there. And if you know the people that teach you what you should be knowing, that makes you proud, then I suggest, it's good to follow those kind of master teachers. That said, I want to bring us back to the class. You were going to share with us the fourth and the fifth lessons that you've learned about yourself or that you've learned that are useful to you as you continue to journey through life. Over to you, Mo.
Yes, yes. I've learned to see opportunities where there is challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for example, our communities might be battling to get basic services, accommodation, and many other things that we need. As young people, we need to look at what can I do to address those opportunities? What can I do to provide those services? What can I do to help my community? Because there is a lot of resources that we can use, and some of the resources that we need, it's most of them that we need, we do have it. For example, there is a lot of people who need accommodation. There's a whole lot of people young people who need guidance, who need support with their education. I'll just give one of the examples of the activities that I do. Mostly Saturdays, I used to have a classes with children where we'll be reading African stories, we're telling each other about the fable tales, we're singing, and just to help them to get to know some of the knowledge that some of us have learned in our senior age. So that's what I do. And in terms of entrepreneurship, I'm a property investor. I've got a property that I've got a property that I've developed, and I provide accommodation for the people, and I'm looking at expanding that. So ask yourself, what is it that you are passionate about? What do you constantly see as a challenge, and try to come up with solutions, because in these challenges that we have, they are wrapped around as challenges, but they are opportunities that we need to take as young people.
Thank you. May you continue with lesson number 5.
Lesson number 5, I've learned that I need to have empathy with for other people, and to be loving not only to myself but to love my community also, because all of us are going through our own journeys. We have got our own challenges. We need support. Some people just need to hear that you reminding them that it's gonna be fine. It's not the end of the world. What you're going through, you can make it. We need to support one another, show love to our own people, show love to ourselves, because when we love and we support one another, we can build a community, we can build ourselves. It's very easy to tear each other apart, but it's something that we need to work on, to learn to validate other people, to compliment our people, because there are a whole lot of people who are doing great work. And thanks to my host, she has done a lot of work in documenting our stories about some of the trailblazers in Africa, and we still need a lot of people to showcase good work that they have done. that in your continent. Our stories need to be told more. There's good things, a whole lot of inventors, but we hear less about because you and I need to amplify their voice. We need to start telling more of the good developments that are happening in our continent.
Thank you so much. I love those lessons. Lesson number 4, see opportunities in every challenge. You know, there's a mantra that I use that I got from Wayne Dyer. He said, if you change the way you look at things, you change to look at things. So if you've been looking at challenges as problems, if you just change the perspective and say and move your mind to the mind of someone who is about to provide, who is interested in providing solutions, you see that some of those challenges become opportunities, like you say. Automatically, you know, a challenge needs a solution, a problem needs an answer, a solution. So what is it that I can do in where I am with what I have? You know, what is it that I can do? I think sometimes we wait for something to happen before we do, before we take some action, or before we use our talent or our gift to create a solution for something. And I think if we just get at it and better ourselves as we get along the way, it becomes much easier. And we discover the fun in doing things, right? So I love that being a solution provider, not a problem amplifier. Don't amplify problems, don't amplify challenges. Try to find a solution. I think if we turn to think that way, life becomes even more interesting. You know,
Mm.
I remember when I used to tell my kids, when I walk in the door and I said I have a problem, you see my kids, they disappear. Everyone disappears in their rooms. When I say I need a solution, you see all of them coming, and there's this competition because each one of them wants to be the best solution provider. They want to provide the best solution. And the conversation that we have is totally different as when you're talking about a problem. And you know, in a typical exchange between amongst us human beings, when I tell you my problem, you tell me another one that is worse than mine. When I try to top you and you try to top me, and we go around, and before we realize, we sit on an ocean of problems, and we have the feeling that we're so little, so powerless that we can't do anything. But when we turn it around and we say we're looking for solutions, by the time we leave that table, we have an ocean of solutions that we can choose from. We have inspiration, we have motivation, we have energy, positive energy. So I love that idea of saying be a solution provider and not someone who sees problems everywhere. Thank you for that. The fifth one, you said empathy. I think again we are
Yes.
going through a very vulnerable time in our lives throughout this pandemic, and having empathy by checking out on people, checking in on people, talking to people, providing help when it is needed, by even maintaining social distancing, right? And some of the things that we are forced to do that are not very comfortable. I think doing them is one of the way of showing our empathy for others, and just saying, as human beings, we are both responsible for one another. We are interconnected, as the pandemic has shown us, right? We are interconnected. It touches one person, we're all affected sooner or later. It doesn't matter where we are in the world. And I think that's bringing us home to our Ubuntu philosophy that says that we are who we are because of other people. And showing empathy becomes something so natural. It's your second nature, that something that you do without being forced to do or without thinking. You just do because you're a human being. So I love those 5 lessons. Is there anything else that you'd like to add before we wrap up the 5 lessons and then move to the next chapter?
No, I think we need to look at, or if we look into our history, was when I look at my history, I see a lot of inspiration. There's a whole lot of people who have built. I'm look at in the empires like the Great Zimbabwe, which have built walls which has been standing for centuries. And you look at the pyramids which have been built in Kemet, Egypt. Some of them are even older than 1,000 years. Those structures haven't been built using cement. I look at the Nubia. I look at there's so many inspiration that our ancestors left. There is paintings which have been written in the stone walls in South Africa. So I think the ancestors were trying to communicate to us that we need that the Iweg did a lot to keep their memory, to keep their history, to build something. Now the challenge is with me is, what legacy would I leave? What legacy would you leave that will inspire generations to come? What are we doing? Because it's very easy to point what is not going right. It's easy to point government this, government that, African Union that. But as individuals, as a community, as a family, what are we doing to create a better Africa? Let's look at being presenting ourselves as the solutions for our challenges. Because in our adversity, in our challenges, there's a lot of opportunities. So what I'm saying is, what we have enormous abundance, and let's look at it and turn it into, you know, create something that will inspire some other people. I see GloBUNTU, they're doing a lot with no, I mean, I don't know of any big funding they have. They're working with the resources they have. There's many people who are doing great work. And let's not sit on our talents. Let's not throw our talents to the dustbin of history. Let's build, because we come from a great ancestry. We can do what is inspiration, something that will inspire generations to come.
I just love that statement. Let's not throw our talents in the dustbin of history. Oh my God, that's so powerful. So, those of you who are joining the masterclass online, I want to challenge you. What is your talent? What is the talent or the gift that you're sitting on, that you're lying down on, that you're trampling on, that you are throwing in the dustbin of history, that you are putting in the account of COVID-19 or the pandemic? What is that talent in you that you have? What is that passion that you have in you, the fire? When you wake up every day, what is that thing that you want to do that you haven't done? And what is it that you need to get it started? At GloBUNTU Books, my passion is to nurture talent for other people to not just awaken that fire in them, but to use it to create, whether it's writing, whether it's speaking, whatever it is, as long as you are taking action. And sometimes until you start taking action, you don't realize how easy it is. You don't realize how easy it is. And I think Muhammad Ali said, impossible is not a fact, it is an opinion. Impossible, sometimes we say this is not possible. And I want to remind you that Muhammad Ali said, the great Muhammad Ali said, impossible is not a fact, it is an opinion. It is probably someone's opinion that you have borrowed and you are making it your reality. And Mandela said it always seems impossible until it is done. So you've got to get it done in order to see how possible it is to do it. So I fully agree with you. And I love the lessons that we are having in this masterclass. That said, bro, before we move to the next chapter, I just want to put a few words out there. Coming up next at GloBUNTU Books are a series of master classes. A series of master class that we use that build on the concept that I created that I call the GloBUNTU Affirm Meditations. When you know how to affirm yourself every day, and we black people we need to do a lot of affirmations, then you know that you can walk with positivity. You walk from the space of opportunities and of possibilities and not from the space of lack. And so there's a master class coming up which is called affirmative breathing. During this pandemic, we all have lost people, and some people really don't know what to do with their grief. And in that master class, I just want to give you tools and skills on how to grieve from a positive perspective, how to turn your pain into your power and your grief into your growth. There is another master class that is coming up, which is about how to write yourself out of your COVID experience. Whatever experience that you're having, you can write yourself out of it, and you come out as as victorious. You know, you come out as victorious over the pandemic. And what I love that is coming up in November, from November 1 to November 21, is what I call the 21 Days Happiness Agenda. So you jump into that class, the happiness agenda, 21 days, every day you put in 30 minutes for your happiness so that you can detox and declutter all the experiences of the pandemic and the lockdown and prepare yourself to move to a greater 2022 version of you. So these master classes are coming up, and I will put them up in the. They are in the. You'll find them in the description box of this video. The GloBUNTU master classes. So if you are looking for solutions, you're looking for skills and tools on how to better navigate the pandemic, these master classes are something that you do not want to miss. So, good. That said, I want to bring us back to the master class. Brother, we're moving up to the next chapter, and the next chapter is going to be what is up with you? What is your next chapter in life after this master class? And going on from today, what is going to be your next chapter?
Okay. My next chapter is to continue to start writing seriously. I must say the bug of writing, it has stung me now. Thanks to GloBUNTU, I see the importance of the printed word. And once I publish my first book through GloBUNTU, a lovely publishing house, I want to write more. But I also want to, I aspire to run a course. It's something that I've been thinking about. And I think I will have to have a talk with you because I want to start doing a course for young people where we coach young people on the life skills. We help them to navigate the challenges of being an adolescent because I could see there's a whole lot of challenges, but it's amongst young people. For some young people, they lack father figures or people who could guide them. Um, I am am I am who I am now because there were people who came to me to give me direction, to guide me when I needed guidance, to lend me a helping hand when I really needed it. At times, I didn't even know that I really needed help, but they were there, then they were patient. So I feel it's a time that I need to start giving more time to young people, and I think that would be my contribution to helping our people. And inspired by Muhammad Ali, he said, "You have never lived a day in your life if you have never given something to somebody who will never be able to repay you."
Mm,
Thank you.
mm, that is so powerful. That is so powerful. It's when Mandela says that history will judge us by the impact that we make on the life of our children or someone. And he says, do not judge me by my achievement, judge me by the challenges that I have overcome to get to where I am. And I think when we look at that, we are so much in need these days. And sometimes the need that someone needs in order to get back on their feet and bounce forward is just you giving them a hand, just you telling them a kind word, just you having their back, just you affirming them and telling them that you can. You remember when President Obama ran for election, you remember his slogan, yes, we can. Three tiny words.
Yes,
That was
yes,
powerful enough to bring the first black man into the White House in for 2 mandates. So that affirmative word, that power of yes, we can, may be so simple, but when you put it out there and you encourage people and just remind them that they can do something, no matter what it is, you can do something. I think it is very powerful. And you keep coming back to GloBUNTU books. I'm so extremely proud of you because you have 3 young authors. You are holding the GloBUNTU books record for being the father of 3 young authors. And on top of that, you are writing your own book. You sat down when you saw the kids come out with your book. You said, I am writing my book. And it took you just 2, 3 months and you presented to me your first manuscript. which is not a small manuscript. It's an incredibly powerful manuscript, and I am so proud of you. You can't even begin to know. So I know that you have a lot of content. You have a lot to share. Also, from your parenting experience, you have a whole lot to share with young people. There are young people who not just need father figures, both boys and girls. They need father. Some of them need father figures, and people who are parenting themselves could really do a whole lot to help those children. And in terms of developing the program, you know, I'm here. I'm passionate about developing the youth. If there is anything that we can do together, I am already in. I'm sitting in the front line and don't waste time to come because you know I will be right there. So I can't wait for that. Those of you who are online, I want to remind you this is an open masterclass. It is the GloBUNTU School of Life masterclass because today is Saturday, and because it is past 5 p.m., and that is the time when we always have our master classes. So make sure to participate. What is the thing that you're going to do today differently just because you were in this master class, because you listened to the conversation in this master class? Who are you going to be from now going forward? What is the solution that you're going to provide? What is your gift that you're sitting on that you think after this master class, oh my goodness, I'm going to jump up and unleash and harness that gift and give the best that I can? Who is in your neighborhood who may need your help? And brother, I always say, as long as you are alive, you have more than someone else. And when I get, sometimes when I feel tired, there's a YouTube channel. It's called Born Different. I go to that channel, Born Different. You see people who are born without limbs. You see people who are born without arms. You see people who have all kinds of conditions, and they're out there inspiring. They're not sitting home and feeling pity about themselves. They're not complaining. You see them going out to help other people because they want to be a source of inspiration. And each time I see that, I tell myself, I've got to do more and more. I need to put in much more because I have so much compared to them and compared to someone who did not wake up today. So I fully agree with you that we should be doing something and that we should harness our talents and use it to help other people around us, especially vulnerable people like young people and elderly people. So, cool. If someone listens to you and they want to find you, where should they go to? Where can anyone find you? Don't give your phone numbers, your social media handles, and your website. So it's enough. We don't want to be responsible for people, giving you all kinds of calls, but people can find you on your social media and inbox you or DM you. So
Yes,
your social media channels, please.
yes. I'm on social media, Facebook. You just search me by my name, Ramarumo Tshikosi. Yeah, it's a very inspirational page. I always share messages to inspire people, to share about our history, about some of our Pan-African legends. Because as a Pan-Africanist, when I started learning about our great legacy of the leaders that we had and that we still produce even today, I felt inspired about the future. So I'm on Facebook and I'm also on Twitter. I'm using the same name, Ramarumo Tshikosi. So yeah, let's hook up and talk. And I really feel as a father, and that is the title that I'm very passionate about. Many people say, "No, you are a scientist." No, that's not who I am. I am a father, and I just want to make a humble plea to all the fathers out there to be there for our children, not only our own children, but to all the young people who are looking for guidance. Let us be there, support them, embrace them, because they really need us. There's a saying in an African proverb which says that the nation is shaped at home. So whatever we do at home, whatever we say, how we talk to our young people, we are creating the future. So let's create a better future by supporting our young people. Those are our resource. Those are the people who will lead us, who will help us to build this great continent. For some of us who still maybe do not know, some of the leaders, I think one of the French leaders once said that whoever controls Africa's resources will become the next superpower. So you can't be a superpower without controlling our resources. We are Africans. Let's control our mind. By controlling our mind, being in charge of ourselves, being confident, investing in young people, we will all be able to control our destiny.
Thank you so much. That brings me to what Thomas Sankara once said. He said, "He who feeds you, controls you, owns you." So we should learn how to feed ourselves so that we can own ourselves. And Steve Biko said, when you change when you change someone's mind, nothing is ever the same once we change our mind. So to change someone's mind from what they used to think to what they and get them to start thinking differently, nothing is ever going to be the same from that level. And I think if we all change our mind, shift our mind from the space of lack, from the space of all the names that we are called, third world countries, developing countries, emerging economies, and all kinds of things, if we shift our minds from just embracing our Africanness and looking for the thing that makes us proud to be African, I think we will see a whole lot. And that in itself is a paradigm shift that we may need. It's the mindset shift that we may need. And I think this is probably what Steve Biko was referring to. So we just have to shift our mind to a space where we give ourselves the permission to be great, to be happy. You know, the permission to say, as an African, I'm proud, and then look for the reasons that make you to be a proud African. So I am all with you. That said, we are about to move to the last chapter of our masterclass. And before we do, um, oh, I was talking all by myself. I'm giving you the screen, but that is fine. It's a whole video of my, but I hope that the
Yes.
sound was good out there. So before we go to the last chapter of our masterclass, I just want to ask if there's anything else that you would like to add, you know, to the top previous chapter. You've told us your story. You've given us your 5 lessons learned so far. You've given us you've talked about your next chapter. So to wrap all of those 3 chapters up before we move to the last one, is there something else that you'd like to add?
Yes, I would like to add that I'll borrow the words of Malcolm X. He says, "For tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today." Tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it. So let's prepare for tomorrow. Let's create it by what the people around. So let's create a better future by being pragmatic about what we do. So it's very important. And as fathers and young men there, and let's embrace our role of being contributors to building, nation building, being there to provide security for our sisters, for a loved one. Let us not be perpetrators. Let us not be some of the people who are causing problems. Men should take their role of being nation builders, not be people who are going there and causing heartache to our sisters. No, that shouldn't be like that. We should be showing love, empathy, being part of community builders. And that way, we will leave a legacy that will be remembered for. That there were some people who were there, who created, who built something that we could be proud of. So let's do something that is will help us to reach our greatness.
Thank you. Those are powerful words, and I will not comment on that at this moment. I'll just leave them because you said it all. That said, I am going to take you to chapter 4 of our story, telling our masterclass. I just love this chapter because it is fun, it is exciting, and what I'm going to do is just ask you, I just say a statement and you complete it for me. So complete it as authentic, as exciting, as fun-filled as possible. So at this GloBUNTU School of Life Masterclass, we learn to having fun. You know, we have fun learning. So this is that fun part of the class. So if you're ready, I will say let's go. Let me know if you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, excited. Excited. So first one or first statement to complete for me is I define myself as
As a father,
good. As a Pan-Africanism to me,
Pan-Africanism to me means being one with Africa, being one with African people, being a contributor, being a nation builder, being part of the solution, not being part of the problem, being there to preserve our legacy, our history, and our culture and languages. That's what Pan-Africanism is about. For me, Pan-Africanism means unity of people, African people all over the world. It goes beyond the continent.
I get you. Growing up in the apartheid system in South Africa, I learned that
Yes, growing up in those times, I learned that we African people are resilient, and we used to at that time people used to use their meager income, small resources to build community infrastructures like schools. They used to build clinic. I remember taking part in building even a church where we were contributing our time and the small income that we get. But growing, living now in the democratic South Africa, when people are unhappy to express their unhappiness, they ban their infrastructure, which is sad.
so the next one is a follow up to that one. Contrary to what I learned back then, I now know that
Yeah, contrary to what I learned before, which was not knowing much about my Africanness and being not so proud about who I am, not knowing about our major contribution to history and even to civilization, because you cannot talk about civilization without mentioning Africa. That's what most people don't even know. Where our contribution is enormous, even in astronomy. We're talking about geometry, we're talking about science, we talk about medicine. Everything started in Africa. But I used to think, everything comes from Greece and Europe. So I feel that I need to learn more, and I took it upon myself that to teach everyone around me. I started from home. All my children, they know a lot about Africa. We talk about major African events. We use our even if it's we're talking about major holidays, we talk about those things. We read, we talk, we play stories, we narrate stories about Africa. So there's a whole lot of learning that we need to know. That's that's what I would encourage. Let's learn. We even have a saying at home to say, a day without learning is a day wasted.
I love that. I love that. And I think you were talking about African history, some of the recommended history. Who are some of the master history black?
Yes, I would recommend the late Dr. Ranuko Rashid. May his soul rest in peace. He's made a huge contribution. Sheikh Anta Diop, Marcus Garvey's work, very inspirational work. And there's so many and that we have written enormously about Africa, including my host. She has written incredibly. She has written a lot of work, and also most of her books. Your book, Beatrice, they are very good for children because a whole lot of people have written books for adults, and so I would recommend a lot of your books. I also learned a lot about Africa from your work.
Thank you so much. Thanks for that compliment. It's always good to know from your readers that you're doing a good job. Thank you. Thank you. What most people do not know about me is that
What people do not know is I am very easygoing. I laugh a lot. I prefer to spend more time with children. If any living was not an issue, I would even start a daycare for children. It's something that we have been talking about with my wife to start a Pan-African school. We and a school that will be self-reliant, that will produce people who are proud of their African identity, people who are self-reliant, uh, people who are optimistic about the future, and they are pragmatic about. So it's something that is there that I want to do it, and I hope I will do it. I also think about building a museum. That's something that I have a plan. I think about it. That I think our history needs to be at the center. We need to put Africa at the center of our learning.
And I would love to come into that Pan African school. I think we need so many of them. And I'm working on a concept that I call my School of Africa. So if you're ready for us to discuss about that, my School of Africa, then I think it's time to set up that school that goes beyond the classroom, goes beyond the curricula that is being offered. So I am happy that we're in that space. Next question. As a father of three girls, I know that.
As a father of three girls, I know that the girl child can achieve anything if inspired, if supported. Mine, we don't only read books, we learn a lot of skills. For example, when I do plumbing at home, I work with them. When I'm changing tires on the car, I work with them. We do carpentry work, like changing locks. We do a lot of work together, changing bulbs. They climb on the ladder. I said, yes, a young lady can do anything. And they are also teaching me how to draw. They're teaching me how to cook. So it's a quite vibrant house. And I say there's some limiting thoughts that we have about women. They are not what we think they are. They are more. We need to nurture them, support them, and whatever we do, well, let's not also not leave the boy child. Let's empower them. Our children are amazing. Let's love them and support them.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Now we come to one topic that I know is very close to your heart. Homeschooling for me.
Homeschooling for me means that you turn your space, your house, your home to be a learning environment. That learning is not confined to a classroom. We should learn everywhere we are. We should ask questions. So whenever we are, whether we're at home, whether we are traveling around, we see opportunities for us to learn. And for us, it's a lifelong learning. It's a commitment that we to become student of life. So that's what we do, and it's all about learning what makes you happy and following your passions. Because at times we find that our life, it's education is so structured, but and to some extent that sometimes we don't learn what we like. So with us, we learn what we love. For example, Unana, Nari is our last born. She has already achieved what she wants. She's a chef at the age of 11. She cooks, she researches, she loves what she does.
And I want to say she's not just a chef, she is an award winning young author, and that her book was prefaced by none other but Professor Ngugi Wathiongo. And I want to say that she's a GloBUNTU trailblazer, and she just, she's not even 10. Or she's 10 now. It's not 10.
Yes, she's 10 now. She's 11 now.
Yeah, she's 11.
Yes.
That's what an 11 years old accomplishes. Some people don't accomplish half of that in their whole lifetime. So I just want to commend you for that. I want to commend the Tshikosi Empire for
Thank
the
you.
for the educational, for your outlook on education and how you bring up the girls and how you show them around the girls. So I'm really very proud of you for that.
Thank you.
So
I must also say that Um, we are quite grateful for her having been able to come across you and GloBUNTU. You have had a very positive impact to our family. We quite grateful for that, and we came across you through the Liberated Minds seminar which we attended. So we are grateful to our ancestors.
We are all grateful. The appreciation is mutual. We go back to the masterclass. As an African nuclear scientist, I see myself as
Yes, as an African nuclear scientist, I see myself as one of the people who will harness the uranium that we mine in Africa for the benefit of Africa. One of some people do not they know about the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. They don't know that the uranium which was used for that bomb came from Africa. The
oh
nuclear
wow.
plants that are running in Europe. Europe is fully powered, fully electrified. The uranium comes from places like Niger. It comes from Congo. It comes from South Africa. South Africa has got a lot of uranium. So nuclear energy, we must not be scared of it. A bomb is an uncontrolled uh, energy, uncontrolled nuclear energy. A nuclear energy, if when it's harnessed and it's used in a safe technology, it can produce power. Like I work in a nuclear power plant, the only nuclear power plant in Africa, and it has been running safely for more than 35 years. And many people don't know about it because we only know about technologies that are in Europe. And we have got a lot of nuclear research project like in Nexa in Pretoria. I took my children also to Itamba Labs in Cape Town. They doing fantastic where they have got produced the nuclear isotopes for medical purposes. So there's a whole lot of nuclear purposes that we can use for developing ourselves, for making our life better.
Mm, I like that. I like that. I still have to do another master class with you. There's so much I love to cover with you that we can't cover in this master class. So let's move on with our with the next question. The one key lesson that I have learned in my industry is that
The one thing that I've learned in my industry, I've been um, in in education. I've been to. I'm a science and a mathematics teacher. Um, I've been now. I'm in the nuclear industry, so where we generate power using nuclear. I think a lot of our people do not understand nuclear, and as such, we listen a lot to people who some of them seek to mislead Africa for that nuclear is unsafe, nuclear is this, but they are using nuclear technology to power their industries. So I think we need to learn more about nuclear. We need to learn more about more sources of generating power, and that generation of power now these days, it's no longer limited to utilities, big utilities. The president has opened, they've reduced the regulations for one to build a power plant of 100 megawatts. You can be able to build one with less regulation restrictions. So they've reduced the red tape. You can produce power using solar. There's so much we need to do, and we just need to learn, open ourselves to learning, and sometimes not listen to some of the people who talk a lot about something that they don't know. Yes, there's a whole lot of people who give free advices which is not worthwhile because they don't know about what they're talking about.
got you. The one thing that I is never missing in my grocery bag is you go grocery shopping. What is the one thing that is never missing in your grocery bag?
Oh, Moringa.
Oh, nice.
Moringa, kind paper, cinnamon. They know it. It's my favorite spice. That I say Moringa. It's our god. given. I would say it's a gift from the ancestors because it has
Mm.
got all the nutrition that we need. You're talking about vitamin A, B, C, K, potassium, iron, guys, everything is there. So let's learn more about our health and eat more of green and plant food.
Mhm. Uh, um, what I think the world can learn can learn from Africa is.
What the world can learn from Africa is
Mhm.
humanity, resilience. Yeah, that's what they can learn from Africa.
Okay. In 2030, I see Africa.
In
30.
2030. Oh yes, I see a very developed Africa, very urbanized, and I see Africa which is well connected, where when I travel to Ghana, I won't need visas and all those things. I'll just go with a train. I just take a train, fastest train, magnetic elevated train, go to Ghana, and I see Africa where Africans are in love with themselves, where Africa don't question whether their language is relevant or not, whether the African people are important or not, where we will be in charge of ourselves, charge of our destiny.
I like that dream. I like it, and I buy it immediately. I buy it. I'm with you. The one thing about life that I learned about my parents is.
I learned from my parents that they had faith, and in the face of adversity, they in the face of challenges, my father always tell me that things will work out right. Just look into what you want to do, have focus, and work very hard. And that's hence I even have a motto of saying nothing works unless you do. For my father, make it possible to he would achieve, he will help me to achieve what I think I can't be able to achieve. He made me to believe in myself. My mom, very loving, not only to ourselves but to the community. They are there for the community. They were they a lot of time people used to come there, families used to come there for counsel.
Nice. I just want to acknowledge our brother Samuel Kwao from Ghana. I was talking to him yesterday. Remember the conversation about Ghana, about what we love about Africa? I was having that conversation with him. And Samuel, I'm glad that you're here. Please, I want to come to you. I need some master teachers from Ghana. If you want to be the first, I'm happy about that. But Ghana has to come up and speak for Africa. Tell me about, your life-changing story. So I'm going to come after you. That said, we're back to South Africa. Let's go back to South Africa and wrap up our masterclass. Um, if today was my last day, I would.
If today was my last day, I will make sure my book goes to publication before I go. And I will make sure, because I'm starting to realize, time is not um, it's not an infinite resources. We have to do a lot with what we have now, and I would like to be remembered as somebody who really
No, no, no,
love.
no, no, don't go there. That question is coming. You're too fast. That one is coming. So, you were talking about your last
So when you
day.
think about death, I even have to remember
No,
how.
no, no, that one is coming. So you're tuning into the GloBUNTU School of Life Masterclass. We have fun in this masterclass. We laugh as we learn. And if you are out there and you think that you have what it takes to be a master teacher, you don't have to own history. You just need to own your own story. If you have you have a story that you like to share, please inbox me. I'm looking for master teachers. We need to tell our stories because we're creating a digital memory that will be here forever. Digital memories of our stories, our faces, our laughter, the sound of our voices, so that no one reinvents them when we're no longer here. So this is what we're doing with this School of Life Masterclass. And you said something about time, and Mandela said, "Time, our most scarce resource is time, and we must utilize it wisely." And sometimes we think like, you know, the thing about death is that you don't know when it's your time. You don't know when this dead man or this dead man will knock at your door. So sometimes when people say, "I'm still very young," I'm like, some babies die coming out of their mom's wombs. Some die on the way to kindergarten. You know, the exciting thing about life is that you don't know when it's going to be your turn. So if there's something that you have to do, do it quick, do it today. Don't procrastinate up until tomorrow because you
Correct.
don't know when you wake up tomorrow. So I love that idea. Your book is in good hands. I'm promising. And if I had to go before you, that book must be published. I want to know if I'm in my grave and I hear that the book is not published, I'm coming to haunt you.
Correct. And one thing about once you start writing, you realize that you start having more ideas of other books that you
That's
need
right.
to write, and now you start worrying about why didn't I start discover writing earlier on, because
Listen,
I've got more to write now.
I started writing when I turned 46, 41. I wrote my first book at 41. So, it's a good thing is getting started. And yes, writing is a good thing when you have content to share, when you have those life experiences also to share. So, you're right on time. You're right on time. Don't compare yourself with the kids. We're living in another generation. So, you're right on time. Right. Don't waste time on thinking if you should have started early. Just write and write. So,
Actually, I always say I want my children to be better than me, to achieve more than
right.
what
That's
I
the
have
essence of
achieved.
parenting. Yeah, that's the essence of parenting. Yeah. So, being alive to me is
Being alive to me means to to be happy with what we have while working towards what we want. To Because there will never be a better tomorrow than tomorrow. So we need to embrace what we have, use what we have, and laugh more, enjoy more, and have fun. Because we need to, while we are working towards what we want. Because often, this is what I've learned about myself. There were times when I used to complain a lot about what I do not have, until I realize I am not utilizing what I have. I have
mhm,
a lot already that I can give, that I can use, that I can be happy and be comfortable with. And there's someone who once said, um, I used to complain about not having shoes until I met a man without feet. So we need to look at what we have and use it to the best and be happy.
I agree. And happiness is within, not outside of us. It's within. It's
Indeed.
in a conscious decision that we make, and not something a destination, and not something that we wait for. You know, talking about happiness. I was watching this young girl who came on American Got Talent, and she has been diagnosed with cancer. She has 2% survivor chance. And this young woman sat on stage and she says, "We can't wait until life isn't fair anymore in order to decide to be happy." And this hit me on my face. We can't wait until life isn't hard anymore before we decide to be happy. And that was so powerful. And I remember this all the
True.
time. You know, this is someone who has 2% chances of survival. And the thing that this young girl is doing out there is just amazing. She laughs, you look at her, you think like she got nothing to bother about. But she has 2% chances of survival from cancer. And she's making this statement. And you just think like, who am I? Who am I? You realize how much that you have, and you're whining and well, let's not go there. One more thing.
And it's draining, yeah? It's
If
draining.
I
Complaining is
was
draining.
it takes away your energy. It does.
Yes.
So if I was the president of the United States of Africa or president of Africa, I would.
If I was the president of Africa, I would make sure that education is African centered. and we use what we have, and we learn from what we are able to do, and learn from the past and going forward. And I would make sure that our history and our languages are at the center of our education, and that African people are integrated, and that we are one. We are one people. It doesn't matter when the border was made, you were on the other side of the Beit Bridge, so you happen to be Zimbabwean, or you are on the other side of the Congo River. Maybe you were called Congolese. We are all one people, and we need to look after each other. We've got common destiny, and we can build ourselves. Be we can preserve ourselves. We can become self-sufficient. We can do things for ourselves.
I hear you. So, and this is the final one. I want to be remembered as an African
Who has made a difference to the community, to the African people, who has contributed to regaining of confidence, restoration of our history, preservation of our languages, and production of food. And yes, I want to be there. I want to be remembered as an educationist, as a father figure, someone who has contributed towards building the community.
Thank you so much. You are tuned into the GloBUNTU School of Life Masterclass. It is Saturday. We stream live every Saturday, and we always have a master teacher. And the master teacher is someone that I have handpicked, who has journeyed through life, who has lessons and tools and systems to share, or someone who can just provoke your thoughts, who can help you shift your thinking to a place of positivity. Today's master teacher was my brother, Ramarumo Tshikosi. This is an upcoming author that we want to watch out for. He's the father of 3 GloBUNTU Young Authors, award winners. And so this is a space of wisdom, a space of inspiration. Brother, thank you so much for having been the master teacher in this class. I always love our conversations, and I hope that you come back in another master class. If there's something that you like to add before we wrap up the master class, the mic is yours right now.
Thank you, Sister Beatrice, for having me. I'm learning, and I will say, these spaces like this is the ones which we help to build our community. And let's be optimistic. Let's look forward to the future. And we have it. We the ones we've been waiting for. We are here not by accident. We are here because the ancestors has given us a mission of building, of contributing, and let's use our talents. For us to be able to do that, we need to work on ourselves every day, become lifelong learners, and we use that knowledge to contribute to our communities. Let's build a strong Africa, and it starts with me.
I like that. I like that. It starts with me, not with them. And you are doing your job. And that said, I want to thank you. Oh, the Queen is here. Hello, Queen.
Hi.
Hi, you come just in time to close the masterclass with your king. So give us what is in your mind? Well, how has your day been? I'm breaking the laws of the masterclass now. So someone always has to break the laws, right? So tell us, how has your day been, and how have you been? Have you been listening to the masterclass? What have you learned from your hobby that you don't already know? You're muted. You are muted.
I just got it right now.
Okay. You must promise me to go listen to his master class, because he has taught us a whole lot. I know you know some of them, but you may not know some of them. So you must just go watch his master class when this is over. You look beautiful.
Thank you.
So that said, you are tuned into the GloBUNTU School of Life Masterclass. Come back again next Saturday. We always have a master teacher for you. We always have lessons to learn. And if you have a story out there, you think there is something that I would love to share, you've learned lessons, you've fallen down, you've stood up, you have put in place your systems and your tools, you want to share, the best place to do that is the GloBUNTU School of Life Masterclass, because the lessons that we learn and teach here, you don't find them in any university and in no school. It's just in the School of Life, because after all, it is the School of Life. This is where we do life. So thank you for all of you who tune in from Ghana, from South Africa, from Washington. We acknowledge all of you. And please make sure to share the link of this masterclass and check out the other GloBUNTU masterclasses. This was masterclass number 16. So you have 15 episodes to catch up on, and watch out for next Saturday. Every Saturday we have classes coming up. And check also in the inbox for the other GloBUNTU masterclasses that are coming up in September. We really, really want to help you with our affirm meditations to transition positive into a better 2020. And there are a series of masterclasses that are coming up. So my name is Beatrice Achaleke. It is always my greatest delight to host a masterclass and to share African wisdom with you. We collect and create a digital memory of positive African stories here for now and for the future. So thank you for tuning in next time. Geraldine, I see you. Thank you too very much. Geraldine, you have to come to the class one day and tell us your story. I keep saying this, so I am looking forward to that day. That said, we've come to the end of this masterclass, and I am super, super happy to have had you here. Coming again next Saturday for another episode. Until then, may you and your loved one continue to keep well and safe. I am out.